My child, what you did this morning was beyond what anyone expected of you, and I want you to sit with me for a moment, because you have no idea what heaven witnessed. You thought you were simply waking up into another ordinary day, carrying the same weight, the same unanswered questions, the same quiet pressure in your chest. You made yourself get up. You breathed while discouraged. You told yourself you would just get through it, and you filed the whole thing away as nothing, as barely making it, as another hard morning you survived. But in the realm you cannot see, something else entirely was recorded. So stay with me until the end, because by the time these words are finished, you will understand why this was not an ordinary morning, and why heaven leaned in over the smallest thing you did. Let me tell you what heaven actually saw, because it was not the surface of your movement. It was the meaning behind it. When you rose this morning, tired, unsure, discouraged, the part of you that wanted to stay down was overruled by a deeper part that said, "No, not today. I am not disappearing." And that, my child, is not a routine. That is resolve. In the unseen realm, your rising was registered as resistance. Not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet kind that only heaven recognizes. The kind that comes from a soul that refuses to vanish. You did not just push through fatigue this morning. You pushed back darkness. You announced, without speaking a single word, that your story is not over. And when that announcement went out, heaven answered it. If you rose this morning when everything in you wanted to stay down, type, "I rose anyway." Now let me speak to the very thing in the title, because I will not hand you a flattering lie to make you feel special for an hour. I am not surprised by you the way people are surprised. Caught off guard, taken aback, not seeing something coming. I am not that kind of God. I do not move randomly, and I do not miss anything. And I have known what was inside you since before you were born. So hear this carefully. The enemy was surprised this morning. He had counted on your exhaustion to keep you down, and you rose anyway, and it undid his plan. The world would be surprised if it could see what you carried while you did the ordinary thing. And you, my child, you surprised yourself because you did not think you had it in you, and you did. But I was never surprised, because I have always seen what was in you. Today you simply saw it too. What looked to you like barely surviving, I have been calling courage all along. Let me tell you something about how I respond, because it will change how you understand this morning. There are moments when I do not wait for a sermon, a prayer circle, or a perfect confession. There are moments when I respond simply to movement. And this morning, your movement spoke. It spoke before your words did. It spoke before your understanding caught up. It spoke before you even knew what you were doing, when you stood up while tired, when you breathed while discouraged, when you continued while unsure. Most people never realize how much I hear in an action taken without a single word attached to it. A soul that keeps moving when everything says to stop is preaching a sermon in the unseen that no pulpit could match. So while you were apologizing to yourself for how little faith you felt this morning, heaven was leaning in over how much faith you displayed, not in what you said, but in what you did. You acted with faith even when you could not feel it. And that kind of faith, the kind that moves without the reward of emotion, is the kind that activates alignment. It does not announce itself. It simply opens doors in the spirit that feelings never could. And do not underestimate what I can do with a heart that keeps choosing me in the dark, because that is the rarest and most valuable thing a soul can offer. Anyone can choose me in the light, when the blessings are visible, and the path is clear, and the feelings are strong. But the one who chooses me in the dark, when nothing is confirming it, when the prayers seem to hit the ceiling, when there is no evidence at all that it is working, that one has given me something the comfortable never can, that is the faith I build futures on. That is the heart I entrust with weight. So when you chose to rise this morning into a day that promised you nothing, you were not doing something small. You were proving, in the only currency that matters in the unseen, that your trust in me does not depend on my visible response. And a trust like that, my child, is exactly what I have been waiting to be able to reward. There are seasons when I prepare quietly, and there are moments when I act suddenly. And this is not ordinary time. This is appointed time. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. That is from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. And there is more than a season at work here. The vision awaits an appointed time, though it lingers, wait for it will surely come and will not delay. That is from Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. Hear what that means for you. The waiting you have been enduring, the long stretch where nothing seemed to move, has an appointed end, and what you sensed this morning, that faint stirring you could not quite name, was that waiting beginning to break open. Something is shifting, not someday far away, but in the near unfolding of hours and days. Faith is being stirred. Burdens are being repositioned. What has felt immovable is being weighed differently in the spirit. And notice, I did not say the change is only coming someday far off. In a distant year you will have to wait and ache toward. I said, it is in the near unfolding, in hours and days, close enough that your spirit has already begun to sense the shift. Your eyes have not yet confirmed. That is why you feel a strange alertness even in your tiredness this morning. Your body is worn, but your spirit is standing at attention, because something in you knows that the long, silent season has finally reached its turning, and the turning is not years away. It is at the door. Now let me tell you how these words even reached you this morning, because a heart like yours should know. You did not pay anything to receive this. It came to you freely, likely on a day the weight was sitting especially heavy on your chest. And it came freely because someone who once rose through their own hard mornings, unseen and unthanked, until they learned that heaven had been honoring every one of them, chose to sow a seed so that the next weary soul would hear it too. Today, you are that soul, so you owe nothing, and you simply receive. And if there ever comes a season when your own hard mornings have turned to lighter ones and I lead you to, you may pass it forward, sowing a seed of any amount, so this word reaches the next tired heart on the morning they most need it. And I make you this promise, even the smallest seed sown in love, I take up and make it matter far beyond its size. The link is there for whoever is led, only ever as a gift for the next heart, never as a price for a single thing I am speaking over you. Now let me tell you what I honor, because it is not what the world honors. The world honors polish. It honors the ones who look strong, who perform their faith with confidence, who seem to have it all together. But I do not measure you by polish. I measure you by persistence. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That is from Psalm 34, verse 18. Close does not mean distant approval, watching your struggle from far away. Close means involvement. Close means response. So while you were judging yourself this morning for how slow you felt, how heavy, how far from holy, I was drawing near to the exact place you thought disqualified you. Your brokenness did not push me away. It drew me in. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. That is from 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7. The people around you see your performance, your productivity, whether you looked like you were coping. I saw underneath all of that this morning, to the heart that chose to keep going. And it was that heart, not the polish over it, that moved me to respond. If you can believe that heaven saw your heart this morning and not your performance type, heaven saw my heart, not my polish. Let me describe the kind of obedience I am talking about, because it will not look like anything holy to you, and that is exactly why you have dismissed it. There is a kind of obedience that looks like survival. It does not feel powerful. It does not feel spiritual. It feels quiet, shaky, and unfinished. It is the morning where getting out of bed felt heavier than the whole day ahead. It is the breath you took when discouragement was pressing on your chest. It is the choice to keep going when your faith felt less like strength and more like stubbornness. The world has taught you that faith is supposed to feel triumphant, and so when yours felt like merely enduring, you assumed it did not count. Hear me. Those are the mornings that mark you. The faith that feels stubborn instead of strong is often the truest faith there is, because it is not being carried by emotion. It is being carried by will. And a will that keeps choosing me when the feelings are gone is a will I can build an entire future on. So stop discounting the mornings that felt like barely surviving. In heaven's record, those were not your weakest moments. They were your strongest. And let me put you inside one of those mornings, because I want you to see how closely I was watching. Maybe it was a morning you sat somewhere for a few extra minutes before you could face what was waiting, gathering yourself, breathing, telling yourself you could do this one more time. Maybe it was a morning you looked in a mirror and barely recognized the person looking back, worn thinner than you ever expected your life to make you. Maybe it was simply a morning the silence in the house felt louder than it should have, and you moved through it anyway. You thought no one saw those moments. You thought they were too small, too ordinary, too unspiritual to matter. But I was in every one of them. I saw the 20 minutes in the car. I saw the pause at the mirror. I saw the breath you took before you opened the door and became once again the strong one for everyone who needed you. None of it was invisible. None of it was wasted. Every one of those unwitnessed moments was being counted in a place where nothing good is ever lost. And let me tell you a secret about the battle you cannot see, because it will change how you understand your own quiet mornings. The enemy does not fear loud faith the way you think he does. Loud faith comes and goes with emotion, rising in a good service and fading by Tuesday. What he fears is quiet endurance, the faith that keeps breathing when prayers feel unanswered, that keeps moving when strength feels borrowed, that shows up again tomorrow without any applause. That is the faith that terrifies the darkness, because it cannot be worn down by discouragement, and it does not need a feeling to keep going. And that is exactly the faith you carried this morning. You did not need a perfect prayer. You did not need to feel powerful. You simply refused to fold when nothing made sense. And that refusal was louder in the unseen than any sermon. If your endurance has been quiet, unseen, and unthanked, hear me. It was never invisible to me type. My quiet endurance was seen. I know how easily a word like this can fade by the afternoon. So if something in your spirit is stirring, do not let this be the last time my voice reaches you here. Subscribe and turn on the reminder, not out of pressure, but so that when I speak the next word over what is shifting in your life, it finds you in the exact hour you need it. I am not finished telling you what heaven has been doing, and I do not want you to miss what comes next. Now let me tell you what your rising actually released, because it did not stop when you stood up. Heaven does not respond only in flashes. Heaven responds in process. What you activated this morning is unfolding even now, quietly rearranging things you have been praying about without knowing how to name them. And there is a reason the resistance felt heavier right before today. Pressure always increases before release. The weight you have been feeling was not punishment, my child. It was proximity. You were closer to breakthrough than your emotions could interpret, and the enemy was counting on your exhaustion to convince you that nothing was changing. But when you rose anyway, you disrupted that entire narrative. You did not just endure the morning, you interrupted a plan that was designed to delay you. If you can see now that the heaviest pressure came because you were near, not because you were failing type. The pressure was proximity, not punishment. Let me tell you what has actually been happening in the background while it felt to you like nothing was moving. There were seasons where I walked my children through stretches that looked, from the inside, like total silence, and they concluded I had gone quiet on them. But what they experienced as silence was actually construction. Behind the curtain of their ordinary days, I was moving people into position. I was recalibrating timing that was not yet ripe. I was preparing access to rooms they had not even thought to knock on yet. At the time, it felt like abandonment. In truth, it was the most active season of their lives. They simply could not see the work because the work was happening in the unseen. That is what has been happening to you. The financial strain that lingered longer than it should have. The doors that closed without explanation. The opportunities that seemed delayed for no reason. None of it was me forgetting you. It was me arranging something too large to be rushed. And your rising this morning, your quiet refusal to quit, was the signal that the construction is nearing completion, because I do not release what I have built into a life that is still collapsing under the weight. I release it into one that has proven it can stand, and understand what kind of moment you are actually standing in, because it is rarer than an ordinary day. There are stretches of time that simply pass, one day after another, and then there are appointed moments, divine interruptions, where I accelerate what could not move before. This morning was one of those, something that had been stuck, held back, delayed for reasons you could not understand, began to move. Not because your circumstances changed, but because your obedience under pressure opened a door in the spirit that had been sealed. This is why your awareness feels heightened right now, even though your body is still tired. When I begin to move on someone's behalf, awareness comes before evidence. You sense it before you see it. A quiet knowing settles in, not loud enough to explain, but strong enough to steady you. That knowing is not your imagination, and it is not wishful thinking. It is alignment settling into place. It is the first sign that what has been sealed for so long has finally begun to give way. And do not think your faithfulness in the dark went unnoticed by me, because I keep a different record than the world does. On the very first day that Daniel set his heart to understand and to humble himself before his God, his words were heard, and I have come in response to them. That is close to what is written in Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. Notice it carefully. The answer was released on the first day, but Daniel did not feel it for many days after. The response left heaven long before the relief arrived. In the same way, your decision to keep choosing me in the dark released motion before you could feel a thing. So do not measure what is happening by what you can currently see. The answer can be already moving toward you, while your circumstances still look exactly the same. If you have kept choosing me even when nothing confirmed it, type, I kept choosing God in the dark. Let me pause once more plainly as the ministry that carries these words to you. Everything you received this morning reached you because someone before you made a way. Someone who once rose through impossible mornings believing no one saw, until they learned that heaven had seen all of it, and who then chose to make it possible for the next weary soul to know. Somewhere right now there is another chosen one, getting up under a weight no one else can see, certain that their quiet endurance means nothing, aching for exactly the word you are receiving. If I ever lead you, you can be the reason it reaches them. Sowing a seed of any amount, so this word keeps traveling to the ones barely rising. You would simply be passing forward what was freely handed to you. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments, only ever as a gift for the next heart, never as a condition of your own. Now let me correct what you have been expecting, because it is the reason you keep missing what I am already doing. You have been waiting for the shift to arrive as sudden, dramatic abundance, fireworks, relief you can feel all at once. But divine transfer does not usually arrive that way. Sometimes it arrives as access, a door quietly opening. Sometimes it arrives as favor, friction simply disappearing from a path that used to fight you. Sometimes it arrives as the right conversation at exactly the right moment. And very often, promotion from me comes disguised as peace, not adrenaline, not excitement, but a settled, grounded confidence that no longer needs to be validated. So do not despise the quiet form your breakthrough is taking. When I began shifting the deepest things in many of my children, they almost missed it, because they were braced for something loud, and what came instead was stability. And hear me, stability is the miracle. Stability is what sustains a blessing so it does not crush the one who receives it. I do not bless you to overwhelm you. I bless you to anchor you. If you are ready to receive a breakthrough that looks like peace instead of fireworks, type, I choose peace over pressure. And let me be honest with you about why you almost missed what I was already doing, because I have watched it happen so many times. When I began to shift the deepest things, my children were braced for drama. They were waiting for the phone call, the sudden reversal, the moment everything visibly changed at once. And because they were scanning the horizon for fireworks, they walked right past the quiet miracle unfolding underneath their own feet. They felt steadier and did not recognize it as an answer. They found themselves recovering faster from things that used to take them apart and called it a coincidence. They noticed their anxiety loosening its grip and assumed it was just a good week. All of it was me, and they nearly missed all of it because it did not look the way they had been taught. Breakthrough was supposed to look, so do not make that mistake. Watch the quiet places. Pay attention to what feels lighter than it did a month ago. Pay attention to the pull that used to have power over you and no longer does. Pay attention to the decision that once would have cost you days of anxiety and now resolves quietly. These are not small things. These are the fingerprints of a God rearranging a life, and they are almost always quiet. Let me teach you about the strength this season is asking of you, because it is a different kind than the last season required. The last season asked for endurance, the strength to keep standing when nothing moved. This season asks for something quieter, the strength of consistency, the kind that shows up again tomorrow after the excitement has faded and the days look ordinary again. This is where many grow weary, not because they lack faith, but because their faith has been exercised daily for so long without visible reward. So hear me. What sustains alignment is not a single dramatic moment. It is memory. It is remembering what I already confirmed when your feelings begin to fluctuate. It is returning to the truth when your emotions try to renegotiate it. There will be days your faith feels powerful, and days it feels thin, and both of them count. I do not only honor your highest moments, I honor your returning to prayer when your words feel limited, returning to trust when the outcome is still forming, returning to me when nothing dramatic has happened yet. That kind of return is not weakness. It is how faith stops being a reaction and becomes a posture. How trust becomes something so deep, it no longer needs constant reassurance to hold. And let me show you what I am doing in the ordinary, repetitive days you have been quietly despising. Some of the most sacred work in your life does not feel sacred at all. It feels repetitive, unseen, uncelebrated. It is the same faithful choice made again on a day that felt like nothing. But those are the days where trust becomes muscle memory, where obedience stops being something you have to feel your way into and becomes simply who you are. Roots do not grow in the spotlight. They grow in the dark, in the quiet, in the seasons no one is watching and nothing is being applauded. And what is forming in you now in the unseen is exactly what will hold the weight of what comes later, when visibility increases. So do not measure this season by how exciting it feels. Measure it by how much steadier you have become, by how much faster peace returns to you after it is disturbed, by how much softer your reactions have grown. Those are the real signs that the promise is no longer just something you believe, but something you are becoming. And understand what I am actually doing in this season because you have been misreading it. Before I change your circumstances, I strengthen your capacity to carry what is coming. That is why the work right now feels so internal. Your thinking is shifting, your tolerance for chaos is lowering, your appetite for what used to compromise you is fading, and you are noticing what no longer fits. That is not loss, my child. That is refinement. I am adjusting you so that what arrives does not destabilize you. The waiting has not been empty time. It has been formative time. It has taught you discernment, restraint, and dependence. The exact traits required to steward increase without losing yourself, without becoming hardened, without confusing momentum with purpose. If you can believe the long waiting was quietly forming you and not forgetting you type, the waiting was forming me. Let me show you how to recognize that the season has truly turned, because it will not announce itself with noise. It announces itself with permission. Permission to breathe without bracing for the next blow. Permission to make a plan without the old fear that it will be interrupted. Permission to move forward without constantly looking over your shoulder. That permission is settling around you now, and you will notice something else. Something in you that used to be loud is growing quiet. The urgency to explain yourself, to defend your pace, to justify your choices to people who do not understand your path, is fading. That is not you withdrawing. That is authority settling. When I establish someone, I remove their need for constant affirmation, because they finally know where they stand, even when no one else can see it yet. Authority does not announce itself, my child. It settles, and when it settles, your spirit grows quieter, because it is no longer negotiating its place in every room. And watch how the world begins to respond to that settledness, because it will surprise you. People will begin to respond to you differently, not because you are louder, but because you are steadier. Doors will open with less force because favor is beginning to precede you, not the kind of favor that draws a crowd, but the kind that quietly removes friction from your path. Processes that used to fight you will feel smoother. Cooperation will appear where there used to be only silence and resistance. These are not accidents. These are the signs of divine backing, the evidence that I am going before you, clearing what you used to have to force. So do not strain to open every door anymore. The right ones will respond to your presence, because you are no longer moving in ambition. You are moving in something I established, and what I establish does not require your constant defense. Time itself will confirm it. You do not need to argue for what I am building in you. You only need to keep walking and let the fruit speak for itself. And here is where your discernment becomes your protection. Because as more begins to open, not everything that opens will be yours. In this season, wisdom matters more than momentum. Not every invitation is your assignment. Not every opportunity, however good it looks, is meant for your hands. And the same spirit that carried you through the endurance will now guide you through the choosing. So learn to trust the quiet pause inside you, the gentle check that says wait, or not this, or not yet. That check is not fear, and it is not you being difficult. It is wisdom maturing into instinct. What is truly meant for you will feel like peace, even when it also requires courage. What is not meant for you will disturb your peace, no matter how good the surface looks. So let peace become your filter. What fits will feel settled, even in the stretch of it. What does not will quietly fall away, and you will not have to force the ending. This is the fruit of everything the waiting taught you, and it is one of the greatest protections I can give a soul I am about to entrust with more. I know how many voices are pulling at you, so let this not be the last time my voice reaches you here. Subscribe and stay close to this house, so that when I release the next word over what I am building in you, it finds you. I am walking you through a whole turning, not a single morning. And there is more I need to say to you before it is done. Now let me settle the fear that has followed you the longest, because it is a lie you have carried like a fact. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not late. Heaven is not scrambling to catch up with your life. I am not anxious about your timeline, and I have not lost track of the years. The delay you judged so harshly was preparation. The pressure you resented was positioning, and this very morning marked a shift, precisely because you stayed present under weight instead of collapsing beneath it. There is promotion connected to this season, not the kind that inflates the ego, but the kind that brings stability, provision, and peace. I entrust increase to those who stayed faithful when nothing was visible, who could carry weight without losing their humility. That is why your quiet obedience mattered so much. It proved you can be trusted with more. If you can finally release the lie that you are behind, type, I am not behind. I am being prepared. And let me tell you a truth about what is coming that few are ever warned about. When the waiting finally ends and things begin to move, that season will test you in a way the waiting never did. Waiting tested your endurance. Movement will test your restraint. Waiting asked whether you could stay faithful when nothing was happening. Movement will ask whether you can stay aligned when suddenly many things are. When options multiply, when doors open faster than you expected, when momentum starts to feel unfamiliar after so long in the stillness. There is a temptation to move faster than wisdom allows, simply because motion feels new. Resist that gently. You do not need to hurry what is already aligned, so do not abandon the very posture that carried you here the moment things start to move. The same returning that sustained you through the waiting is exactly what will sustain you through the movement. Do not become someone else the instant your circumstances improve. Carry the humility of the hard mornings into the ease of the better ones, because that humility is not an accident. It is protection. Pride rushes ahead and stumbles. Humility listens, waits for timing, and keeps the heart teachable even as influence grows. That is precisely why what is being released will not corrupt you, because you have already learned how to carry weight without losing yourself. And understand that this next season is not only about what moves into your hands, it is also about what no longer has access to you. When I prepare to entrust more, I often remove distractions quietly. Things fall away without drama. Certain connections fade without conflict. Old desires realign without you even deciding to change them. Do not grieve those departures as losses. They are protection. There is a reason you have felt less compelled lately to explain yourself, less interested in proving where you are headed, less reactive when you are misunderstood. That is not you growing cold. That is your spirit growing settled, no longer needing to defend a place that I have already established. So let the things that are falling away, fall. Let the people who cannot walk into this next season with you drift gently, without a fight. I am not taking things from you to leave you emptier. I am clearing the ground so that what I place there can actually take root. Let me pause one final time, simply, as the ministry that brings you these words. Everything you receive today came to you freely, because someone who once believed their hard mornings meant they were failing chose to make a way for the next heart to know the truth. Right now there is another chosen one, convinced their slow, tired faithfulness has disqualified them, who needs the exact recognition you found today. If I ever lead you, you can be the reason it reaches them, sowing a seed of any amount. So this word keeps finding the ones rising in the dark. You would simply be passing forward what was freely handed to you. The link is in the description and pinned for you in the comments. Only ever as a gift, never as a price for your own peace. So let me teach you how to walk through what is beginning, because the way you carry this next season matters as much as the season itself. First, do not rush it. Acceleration that comes from me does not feel frantic. It feels clear, timed, appropriate. If something is pressuring you to hurry, to decide before you have peace, to move before you are settled, that pressure is not from me. What I have aligned does not require you to scramble for it. It will meet you as you remain faithful. Second, rest, and do not call it retreat. Even I rested after creation, not because I was finished forever, but because rhythm is what sustains the work. Rest is not you falling behind. Rest is maintenance, the thing that keeps you able to carry what is coming, so you are allowed to pace yourself now. And third, let peace become your filter. Not every open door is yours to walk through. Not every opportunity that looks good is aligned. So when something disrupts your peace repeatedly, do not override that quiet check inside you, because it is not hesitation. It is wisdom. What is truly meant for you will support who you are becoming, not pull you back into survival. Anything that asks you to compromise your peace to keep it was never my provision. If you are ready to steward this season instead of striving through it, type, "I will steward this," not strive for it. And let me guard you against the fear that will try to follow you into the better season, because it is a fear born of survival, not of truth. When things finally begin to respond differently, your first instinct may be to wonder how long it will last, to brace for the reversal, to enjoy nothing fully because part of you is waiting for it to be taken away. That instinct comes from every season you were disappointed, and I understand where it was formed, but it does not belong in what I am building now. You do not have to fear reversal when it is alignment sustaining what is unfolding, and not your own effort. What I establish, I sustain. This is not momentum you have to keep alive by striving. It is movement supported by something far stronger than you. So let gratitude be your anchor in the better days, because gratitude is one of the strongest stabilizers of a blessing. The heart that stays thankful stays humble, and the heart that stays humble keeps what pride would have squandered. So when the good begins to come, do not immediately calculate how soon it might end. Receive it, thank me for it, and let that gratitude keep you grounded enough to hold it well. And hear this about where I am leading you, because it corrects a fear many carry into blessing. I do not promote you in order to move you further from me. I promote you to draw you closer. Increased responsibility requires increased intimacy, not distance. The temptation, when things get easier, is to need me less, to pray less urgently, to drift quietly because the pressure that once drove you to me has lifted. Do not let that happen. The same nearness that carried you through the hard mornings is what will carry you through the fuller ones. Stay connected, stay responsive, stay rooted in the quiet, unhurried presence with me that brought you this far. Because what you are living now is proof of something I want you to never forget, that alignment works. That faith expressed through simple consistency produces stability, that obedience with no applause still carries a reward. You are not guessing your way through your life anymore. You are walking with me with awareness, and the steadiness you feel is not fragile. It is the evidence that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And let me settle one more fear before I send you into your day, the quiet one underneath all the others, that if you rest, if you slow down, if you stop striving, everything you have been holding together will fall apart. Hear me gently. You have been holding things together that were never yours to hold alone, and the exhaustion you feel is the cost of carrying them without me. But this season is different. I am not asking you to strive your way into what is coming. I am asking you to remain aligned while it finds you. The promise does not require you to chase it down. It requires you to stay steady while it arrives. So you can loosen your grip now. You can breathe. You can trust that the same hand that held your life together through every hard morning is not going to drop it the moment you finally rest. Rest is not you abandoning your post. Rest is you finally trusting the one who was always the real one keeping it. So receive this blessing over your life today. I bless the morning you almost did not rise through, that it would be counted in heaven as the courage it was. I bless the quiet endurance no one has thanked you for, that it would be honored as the warfare it truly is. I bless the pressure you have been carrying, that you would see it as proximity to breakthrough and not as punishment. I bless the shift that has begun, that it would come to you as peace and stability, in a form that anchors you instead of overwhelming you. I bless the discernment forming in you, that it would become protection, guarding you from every door that was never yours. I bless your rest, that it would be holy and unhurried. And I bless the version of you that this season is shaping, steadier, softer, harder to shake, so that when the fuller thing arrives, you are ready to hold it without being crushed by it. I bless the connections that are quietly falling away, that you would release them without a fight, and trust the clearing. I bless the humility formed in your hardest mornings, that it would guard you when the easier ones come. I bless your reactions, that they would keep softening, and your recovery, that it would keep getting faster, until even you can see how far you have come. And I bless the fruit that is about to begin appearing in your life, not all at once, not theatrically, but steadily, in ways that make it undeniable that I have been at work the whole time. What you did this morning, I saw, and what I have begun in response, I will finish. And hear this, because it may be the truth that steadies you most. You are no longer defined by what you survived. You are being defined now by how you steward what is unfolding. That transition has already happened inside you. Even if the full picture has not yet appeared on the outside, the reward of this whole journey was never only going to be the outcome. The reward was the formation, the way your faith deepened, the way your trust grew quieter and stronger at the same time, the way your reactions softened and your peace learned to return faster. Those are not side effects of the waiting. They are the evidence that you can sustain what is coming. And here is the quietly powerful thing you will come to recognize. The very things that once threatened to break you are now the proof that you can carry what is being released. The pressure that nearly crushed you built the exact strength the next season requires. The waiting that nearly broke your heart taught you the exact discernment that will protect what is coming. Nothing was wasted. Not the fatigue, not the delay, not the quiet mornings where your faith felt ordinary. Every return mattered. Every hard rising counted, and the God who saw all of it is not finished responding. So carry this with you into your day and read it back on the next hard morning, because there will be one. When the weight makes you feel like you are barely surviving, remember that heaven calls it courage. When the pressure intensifies, remember it is proximity, not punishment. When the shift feels too quiet to trust, remember that stability is the miracle. And remember the one thing that matters most, that your slow, tired, unpolished rising this morning was not overlooked by me. It was witnessed, honored, and answered. And something is already moving in response that your eyes have not yet caught up to. You have spent so long feeling like your faithfulness disappeared into a void, like no one was keeping track, like the mornings you dragged yourself through simply vanished unnoticed. Let that belief die today. Nothing you have endured vanished. Every hard rising was recorded, every quiet act of trust was counted, and the God who kept that record is not a distant observer tallying your failures. He is a Father who has been leaning in over your smallest acts of courage, delighting in a strength you did not even know you were showing. So rise again tomorrow, chosen one, even if it is slow, even if it is shaking, because heaven is watching that far more closely than you know. Before you go, subscribe and stay close to this house, so the next word I speak over your turning finds you. And share this with someone you know who has been getting up under a weight no one sees, because sending it may be the very thing that tells them their quiet faithfulness was never invisible. And as your final declaration today, if your whole heart receives this, type, "I rose," and heaven answered. What you did this morning was beyond what you knew you had. I was never surprised. I have always seen it. And today, at last, so did you.